Advocate Gerrie Nel, you know, is the head of AfriForum's private prosecution unit. I think today is a historic day. You know, in this day we'll remember the 26th of October is the day 6 years ago when the tragedy happened and Senzo Meyiwa was brutally murdered. And since then, I think people in the country wanted to see justice being done, and it's actually significant to, on the same day, the 26th of October, 6 years later, we have now moved to a second phase to get justice being done for the Meyiwa family and for everybody in the country. I'm just going to start off by firstly thanking people. That would be my job. You know, when there is success, many people want to claim success. If there's a failure, they blame the investigating officers. If there's success, everybody claims success. But there are really a number of people who we should thank. I think in the first place, we should thank the Meyiwa family, and specifically Sifiso sitting next to me. When about a year ago he came to speak to us, he was determined to make sure that justice is done. And if it was not for Sifiso and his family demanding that something should be done and not accepting the delay of 5 years at that stage, we wouldn't have been here today. So Sifiso, thank you for your commitment. I think your brother would have been proud of you that you decided not to lie down, but to say you are going ahead and going to get all the help you need to make sure that justice is done. Secondly, I also want to say thank you to the investigating team at SABC. Persons' names that weren't mentioned today, but specifically Colonel Ganinda and his investigation team. Since they took the investigation a few months ago, there was a lot of progress. And I think we have to give praise where praise is deserved. And what we're also happy about, you know, many times you get police investigators that don't want to speak or work together with anybody else. And from day one, there was a commitment by this investigation team to work with Advocate Gerrie Nel and his team. There was a commitment to share evidence, to speak with regard to strategies and so forth. So we really want to say thank you. It's good to know in a place where there's sometimes people feel angry because we don't see justice being done. It's good to know that there are a number of policemen and women that do their job and do it well. And I think in this case we have to thank the investigation team. And then also the National Commissioner of Police, General Sitole. You know, General Sitole was committed to make sure that there was cooperation between civil society and the police, and also cooperation with Advocate Nel's team and the police. So we also want to thank him for the role that he played. Then, of course, Advocate Gerrie Nel and his team, we know they are committed, they're good investigators, and also the extra mile they went to work with the police in this regard. I also want to thank you. And then, last but not least, I want to thank the members of the media. You know, if everybody just kept quiet after 5 years, after this murder, and the Meyiwa family kept quiet, and the media did not continue to pursue this matter, we would not have been here today. And I think in the time when there's a lot of criticism, sometimes, unfortunately, of the media, I think we say that the media played a huge role to make sure that this issue was continuously kept on the agenda. And I think what today's breakthrough shows is that we can fight crime if there is cooperation between the police and civil society. And that is what I'm very happy about, is that is what happened today. So I want to introduce Advocate Gerrie Nel that will give you further information.
Thank you very much, Mr. Kriel. Let me start off by also thanking Sifiso. If you look at Sifiso, he's a man that's been trying to get to the airport since 8 o'clock this morning. He had quite a difficult day. He arrived in our office about half an hour ago, and we did a briefing and I think it's safe to say that the briefing shocked him. Because, you know, over years of this investigation, there were various versions given about what happened, who was involved, and people followed certain versions and thought that that was the truth. And we've heard, and I'm not going to repeat what the Minister and General Sithole said this morning, because what they said is quite correct. They said that they've arrested 5 people. What I can say, however, is that we received the full briefing from the investigating team, and the investigating team took us through the evidence. Having gone through the evidence, we have to agree with General Sithole saying, I think the police have a strong case against the 5 people that they've arrested. But the one aspect that the police were silent on early this morning is, was it a robbery? What was it? We've been briefed by the police to say this was not a robbery that went wrong. This was an assassination. So the one outstanding aspect here, and we're disappointed that it hasn't happened yet, is to address the mastermind. Because if there's a hit, there's a mastermind. So we're confident and we agree, having gone through the evidence, that this is a hit. And we've also indicated our full cooperation in exposing the mastermind and ensuring that the mastermind is also prosecuted. So that is how we'll take this further. We've had a consultation with Sifiso sitting here next to us. Obviously, there's been years of absolute trauma. You know, I've read today that it's quite significant that it's on the 26th. But if you go back 6 years, you'll see that's always been developments on the 26th. The police always on the 26th said there's new developments, things will happen. But let me just say that we got involved at the end of 2019. Our contribution initially was to engage the MPA and to indicate to the MPA our dissatisfaction with the way the matter was dealt with. That led the NPA to remove the matter from the Johannesburg Director of Public Prosecution to the Pretoria Director of Public Prosecution. That in itself then created some kind of momentum and a focus, a renewed focus on the facts of the matter. That wasn't all. Also in January this year, we engaged with police management. We've indicated to police management that we were concerned with the composition of the investigating team at that stage. The team was then changed, and we think that soon after that, with the aspect of the new team and under the leadership of Colonel Ganinda, started engaging with us, and we could share information with the team, and things happened fairly quickly after that. So as far as that is concerned, we cannot but compliment the police with arrests. We cannot but compliment Colonel Ganinda and his team, having gone through the evidence in the case docket. But certainly it would become clear if there's a strong case or not once the matter is in court. We haven't had actual sight of the case docket. We haven't read all the statements, but we're confident that on the briefings that we received, that there's a very good case, but also a bit anxious and disappointed that they have not addressed the mastermind behind this assassination, and that must be the most important aspect in this matter. And we will, as far as we can, assist the South African Police Service and other role players to make sure it happens. So, as I indicated, Mr. Kriel, I don't want to repeat everything the General and the Minister said. I think the only new aspects that we can bring out is the aspects that I just mentioned.
Thank you, Advocate. Now it's a privilege to ask Mr. Senzo Meyiwa to also say a few words.
Yes. Greetings to everyone. I'm still in a shock of what I'm hearing since I missed my flight. I have to clear my mind. But I'd like to thank SABC and AfriForum on behalf of the family with the progress of the case. Although we are grateful of the arrest made, we remain anxious that the mastermind was not arrested. In the view of the established cooperation between our legal team from AfriForum and SABC, we remain hopeful that more arrests will follow. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Meyiwa. There is now time for questions from the media. You're welcome to go ahead.
Thank you so much, Khalid. Zianda Ngogo from Newsroom Africa. I just have a clarity-seeking question. So the NPM, the police say they have a watertight case, and you've just agreed to that, advocate now. But you know, in terms of the legal process, of course, the NPA hasn't necessarily issued you with the certificate of non-prosecution. So what does it mean in terms of your contribution? Are you going to be prosecuting NPA? Where do we stand with that? Just for clarity, please. And then in terms of the arrests that were made this morning, you know, as AfriForum, just for the record, are you satisfied that the police are on the right track? Have they told you anything about the mastermind and their possible arrest and whether or not that arrest is imminent?
Good questions. You said it's Nyanda.
Zianda.
Zianda. There's no aspect of a private prosecution. I spoke to the investigating officer, and after he briefed me, I indicated that I would have loved to prosecute this matter because it's a matter that I think it's important to do, and it's a matter that any prosecutor would love to prosecute. So if that answers your question, there's no private prosecution. It is the NPA will prosecute this matter. As far as the mastermind is concerned, we've received a full briefing. We have to be a bit careful in not divulging information that might prejudice the investigation. You asked me if I'm satisfied that the information already obtained by the police indicate to who the mastermind might be. My answer must be yes. I do think that they're on the right track on the briefing I've received. And I hope that that could soon be turned into arrests.
Maybe if I can just add to that, after we were contacted by Sifiso about a year ago, the Meyiwa family appointed Advocate Garinel to represent the family. So our job is not over. We will have a watching brief in terms of the court case. Mr. Meyiwa tomorrow will go to court together with Advocate Nell. So we will monitor this. And then, of course, we've built up such a good cooperation with the investigation team in this matter. This matter is not over. This is only the start. The fact is the mastermind needs to be held accountable because that is the person that actually arranged for this hit. So there's still work to be done there, and we have confidence that the police will be able to do that thoroughly. And of course, but from our side, we will also assist where needed, as we've done up until now.
May I just add something? Mr. Sifiso, when we spoke just now, indicated that he would also want us to follow certain aspects in the investigation, and we will do so. We will leave no stone unturned in ensuring that the justice is done. So as far as our role is concerned, although we won't be privately prosecuting, we still have a huge role to play.
Okay, I have a follow-up question. In terms of what we've heard from Sifiso's mother and the family, Siyabonga me as well, they've told us that one of the issues that they faced is, especially when it came to the case not moving forward, was the fact that there seem to be two police investigating teams and that there's actually a corrupt investigating team that's almost blocking you and the one that was set up by Bheki Cele from actually doing its work? Can you confirm that to us, that actually part of what's made it difficult to get to where we are is because there are some dirty cops who are also making it difficult to get answers?
No. You see, what I would say, we said so in official documentation to the Commissioner and the Minister of Police, that to have two teams that do not work in unison is a problem. But as far as we're concerned, we followed the evidence, and that's all that's important to us. The evidence that we've been briefed on, we're happy with. We're not so concerned about teams and dirty cops. We sitting where we're sitting, evidence that I've seen, I've had no proof or evidence of any dirty cops playing a role and or trying to prevent the investigation or defeating the investigation in any way. I do think, Ziyanda, that now that there's been arrests, and we all know what will happen, there will be bail applications and so forth. And I think it's perhaps now the opportunity, and I hope it happens, that the evidence comes out, that everybody could see what exactly the police have compiled in the case docket and how strong their case is. I think because, investigations by its nature, one always have to keep under wraps until you make arrests. That, in effect, I think, played a role in the perceptions that might exist. But we have discussed their views, the family's views, with Sifiso, and certainly we'll follow up on everything that the family wants us to follow up. We've done so from the start, and it will certainly not cease.
So what changed? What made the investigation that failed for 6 years suddenly succeed? And then the next the follow-up question is, can you talk us through what's going to happen next?
Okay. It will become clear as soon as one attends a bail application where Colonel Ganina would give evidence to indicate how the investigation progressed, to indicate what exactly happened. We feel fairly confident that our involvement, the change of the team, and the movement of the case from one office to another put a new focus on the investigation and allowed people to really just focus on the evidence and to move the case forward. So that is what we believe. Also, if all the evidence comes out during a bail application, it would be clear when certain aspects happened in the investigation, how a certain piece of evidence was used to develop something else. And we all know, and I think as a Commissioner of Police indicated that there was a gun found and there's ballistic evidence linked to a specific gun. So that was very important. But there are other important things also, which I'm not at liberty to talk about now, because we still have to look at the bail application. And that brings me to the second question. All 5 accused will appear in the Boksburg Magistrate Court tomorrow. Obviously, we will be there. Sifiso will be there. And then the matter will, in all probability, be postponed to prepare for a bail application, if the accused decide to bring a bail application. In normal cases, there will be a bail application. I cannot see the state not opposing bail in this particular matter, so I'm willing to say that the state will oppose bail. If the state opposes bail, the defence will have to provide evidence, the state will have to provide evidence, and the court decide on bail or not. And following that, I know, I've heard, and that there will be an indictment served on the accused tomorrow. And the indictment is a charge sheet in the High Court. So the state has already done all their preparatory work. They're ready to proceed with this matter. So the matter will, in a month or two, be transferred to the High Court for trial date. When that will happen, it all depends on the state of the court roll. But we've moved a huge distance in this matter.
Can I follow up that
Yes,
question?
do.
So I understand. I understand what you're saying in terms of what changed the case, but you also said it moved from one group of people to another group of people, and you said that energized the group of people. But I mean, you know, we need to be concerned that there will be more people who are trying to stop the investigation, depending on who the masterminds are.
That might be so. You see, people can stop lots of investigations, except if you have independent people from outside looking in, like us. I mean, we cast an independent eye on everything that's there. We cast an independent eye on the evidence that's available. Certainly, we follow the investigation, the processes by the police, and that will not stop. We're fairly serious about the endeavors to make sure that the mastermind is also addressed. So that will be our task going forward. But I have to say, and I have to qualify myself every time, because it's in the interest of the Meyiwa family. The Meyiwa family also have their views on aspects that we should look at, and we will. We will look at all the aspects and share with our clients what we have.
All right, it's Zianda Ngobo from Newsroom Africa again. Just a follow-up question, and maybe you can take us into your confidence. Do you then believe this report that this gun has been found and that it's positively been linked to Senzo Meyiwa, and that there's a man who's sitting in prison, the man who's sitting in prison is linked to Meyiwa's murder? Do you believe that from the briefing that you've gotten? But also, of these 5 arrest advocates, are you able to just say yes or no as to whether or not of these 5 arrests it's one of the people or some of the people who were inside the house?
That's such a predictable question, Zianda.
I've got to ask. I really
No,
do.
I knew you had to ask it.
You have to tell us.
And I just, if there's one question that I expected, it was that one.
Yes. So
So-
can you confirm for us, yes or no?
Can I confirm?
Whether or not, of the 5 people who were arrested, were some of them in the house when Senzo Meyiwa was shot?
Zianda, you will know by tomorrow the identity of all 5 people, and you will answer your own question. So I'm not going to, venture into that specific question, but you have to wait a couple of hours. Then all 5 will appear, and you will see why I refuse to answer that question now. So tomorrow you'll know, and you can then at court tell me that you understand. But the
gun story?
the gun story is,
prison?
based on the evidence that was presented to me, I believe it. Based on the evidence presented to me, I believe it.
Do we know why the gun was locked up in the safe for
I've
so
got
long?
no, that I don't know. On the detail about where the gun was and what happened to the gun, as far as the ballistic evidence is concerned and the briefing I received, I believe it. And it will become clear later who the ballistic expert is, and my relationship with the ballistic expert would also indicate why I believe it.
Okay, are there any further questions?
I've
Yes.
got one further question. So I've got a question for Sifiso. Sifiso, are you satisfied with what's happening?
What I can say, we'll see from tomorrow. Yeah, we'll see as from tomorrow. There's still a long way.
But if they say that the people arrested, one of them is the one that shot and killed your brother, are you ready to face that person?
I'm ready to face this person.
I'm asking, yeah.
Yeah, I'm ready to face this person. Yeah, there's still more investigation to be done.
I have a question for Sifiso. So, are you and AfriForum in agreement on who the mastermind is?
Yes.
Niyavumelana ngokuthi ubani owakhipha i-hit for Senzo?
Yes, we are in agreement.
And so you'll only be satisfied once the mastermind is arrested?
once the mastermind is arrested, I'll be satisfied. But for now, there's still more to be done.
I think we have to stop Zianda from asking questions.
No, I just commented the positive role the media is playing, so you have all the time you want.
No, that's
No, I'm good.
tongue in cheek, tongue in cheek.
Okay, so thank you very much for attending this. Also, thank you to the people at home watching. And remember this day, it was a start of something good. But we believe, as Mr. Meyiwa said, there's still work that needs to be done, and we will not rest until the mastermind is also held accountable. Thank you very much.